ladies and gentlemen, we understand that today is Configuration Sunday, Transfiguration Sunday. My transfiguration will be from Exodus 24:12 through 18. And starting with verse 1, verse 12. And the Lord said unto Moses, Come up into the mount, and be there, and I will give thee tables of stone, and a law and commandments which I have written, that thou mayest teach them. And Moses rose up, and his minister Joshua. Moses went up unto the mount of God. And he said unto the elders, Tarry ye here for us, until we come again unto you, and behold, Aaron and Hur are with you. If any man have any matter to do, let him come unto them. And Moses went up unto the mount, and a cloud covered the mount, and the glory of the Lord abode upon Mount Sinai. Abode upon Mount Sinai. And the cloud covered it 6 days. And the seventh day he called unto Moses out of the midst of the cloud. From the scripture, my sermon will be Moses receiving the laws of God. From the scripture, we know that Moses and Josh, his minister, left the camp after Moses had received a word from the Lord to come up to him at the time and to come up to him. At this time, he wasted no time getting Joshua and going up the mount. Yet he refused to leave God's people of Israel without someone to go to if they needed help or some kind of discipline. In his absence, the scriptures say he left Aaron and Hur with them as Lord's justice to keep the peace and good order in the congregation. We can find this out. We can find this in our state when the president nominated our governor, Governor Haley, to be the ambassador to the United Nations. Governor Haley didn't want to leave us without leadership. And to replace her, but in this case, the job goes to the lieutenant governor. He leaves behind with you more up in Moses' case. Go up to the mountain even for a few days. Good leaders find their government in constant care, and their people find it a constant blessing. Back in the Old Testament, we know that Moses was God's anointed one, and that Moses was charged with leading the people of Israel. But when Moses got the word from the Lord to come, Moses wasted no time. We see that Moses took Joshua with him. He was to be a companion as well as his successor, and therefore thus he was honored before the people above the rest of the elders. So he would be ready to the people who would also accept him as their governor, and thus he was prepared for the service. By being trained up in communion with God. For without Jesus, in whom are hidden all the treasures of wisdom and knowledge, there is no looking into the secrets of heaven, nor approaching the glorious presence of God. We know that on top of Mount Sinai that there was a cloud, and that cloud stood for 6 days. Moses and Joshua was up on the mount. Now while Moses was waiting on the Lord as he tried his patience, making him tarry 6 days. But what if Moses had been tired before the 7th day? As Saul in 1 Samuel 13, 8, and 9. And said, what should I wait for the Lord any longer? He would have lost the honor of entering into the cloud. But communion with God is worth waiting for. We understand that in the presence of God, who when he speaks is like devouring fire, he would have lost the honor of entering into the cloud and communing with God for 40 days and 40 nights. Have you lost the opportunity to commune with your God by being impatient? So I ask you, being patient in waiting for or on the Lord to call on you, and it is fit we should address ourselves to somber ordinance with slumming pause, taking time to compose ourselves. On the morning of the 7th day, he is called up into a cloud, so to let the children of Israel know the cloud opened in their sight, and the glory of the Lord broke forth like devouring fire. In other words, the people of Israel witnessed God speaking to Moses. God, even our God, is a consuming fire. And so he was pleased to manifest himself in the giving of the law. We may be persuaded to obey, and maybe them be prepared for the comfort of the gospel and the grace and truth which come by Jesus Christ may be more acceptable. Moses stayed with God for a long time. And when he came out of the midst of the cloud, and Joshua seen, and his face was shine so bright. Not only that, his beard was so white, his clothes white as snow. So we know that he had been in the presence of the Lord for a mighty long time. And the people of Israel started to get worried. They was unsure if Moses and Joshua were even still alive. So they came to Aaron and Hur, and they said, "Where is our leader? Where has he gone?" Moses was up on the mountain speaking with God. So they asked Aaron, because he was a great fennec, that he could create them a new God. And he gave them a golden calf. At this time, God had told Moses that he needed to get back to his people, that they was in disarray. So Moses, as he was coming back down the mountain, he heard partying going on. The people of Israel had started praising a golden calf, an idol, as we would say. And Moses ladies and gentlemen, again I ask you, have you missed out of the presence of the Lord? Is there something that you forgot to do, or something you did that took you out of God's grace? If so, I'd like to open the church. For those of you who like to get back in God's good graces,